Today's episode of My Creative Alphabet is about books. About books that have been published on my art catalog exhibitions and book accompanying exhibitions that I also had a lot to do with because I was very much involved in the bookmaking process. And also about books that I made myself physically. They are just like one of unique kind of publications or photographic albums which never get printed and never get beyond my studio or a very small circle of people who look at it, like this photographic album, I could say, made from photographs taken during a friend's visit to Poland, and then I put them together in this album that I made myself pretty much on the spur of the moment using the paper that was available to me at the time. And it's kind of a process involving selecting photographs, sequencing them, and physical making of the book. And it's something that I couldn't do again if I wanted to. It's just like a one-off adventure, and it's done. What I like about books is that they take time. They are very time hungry. Both books that I read, I'm a slow reader, so to read a book is actually quite a long adventure for me. And also making books takes time. Working on a book that is going to be published is quite a time consuming process. And also making a unique artist books that I like making very much. When you have to give that time to a series of photographs in order to arrange them, select them, create a certain narrative, and contain them in a book form. Time is something we have very strange relationship with, I find, especially in photography. Because photography is so fast, can be so fast that we can produce a lot of images. And in order to choose what's kind of important and meaningful and interesting and put them together in a book requires and builds editing skills. And it also allows me to see how a certain narrative that I create changes when I select slightly different photographs or rearrange the order, and the meaning of the whole project changes as well. I make books physically, even if they are to be printed. For example, this book, which is the biggest publication dedicated to my art. It spans my art from 1990 to 2006. I arranged the photographs in the sequence in this book, and it was actually quite a big adventure dealing with such a huge material. But in order to actually get my head around it, when it was all kind of done to make sure that I did the right thing, I made that little kind of mock-up of the whole book. Of course, I didn't put the texts in because I didn't have it, and there was not much point in doing it. So I left the pages blank where the text was going to be put in. But I've done everything else, and I kind of put it all together so I could see how it's going to work out, and I could see the flow of images through the book, through the publication, which is something that I kind of like to experience on a physical level, as well as not just on the on my computer screen. So that also took a lot of time making this book, but it was actually quite a very enjoyable thing to do. These are the pages on the chrysalis, which I showed in my last episode of my creative process, creative alphabet, when I was talking about the body. Now I have a little copy of my made handmade book and the published book. As I say, I kind of quite often do them make books for myself, just because they are fun to make for someone who is a kind of 3D person, and I like functioning in a 3D world with 3D bodies and 3D objects. And also because they give me this extra time and extra dimension to deal with my the images that I make, and see them in many different ways, and arrange them in many different ways.